Good morning, I'm Paolo del Rosario. Welcome to Weather HQ. Today's headlines. Malacanang suspends work in government offices and classes in all levels in the cities of Manila and Pasay on October 14 and 15 to give way to a regional meet. Numerous participants are expected in the 10th session of the Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction to be held at the Philippine International Convention Center from October 14 to 18. The palace says, however, agencies whose functions involve the delivery of basic and other vital services shall continue their operations. In the U.S., Hurricane Milton leaves a trail of destruction with multiple deaths reported following its landfall in Florida. More in our global weather. And later in the show, we'll have the Animal Kingdom Foundation to talk about its advocacy on advancing animal welfare and protection amid the changing weather conditions. Let's take a look at the latest weather update from Pag-asa. Right now, we are experiencing the northeasterly surface wind flow known as the weak amihan, which is affecting the northern part of Luzon. Now, for those in the Cordillera Administrative Region, Cagayan Valley, and Aurora, you can expect cloudy skies with rain showers today. So please be prepared for possible flash floods and landslides as we could see moderate to heavy rains in your area. Now, over here in Metro Manila and elsewhere in the country, expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies, but remember to stay alert for isolated rain showers or localized thunderstorms that may pop up out of nowhere. Now, let's check in our sea conditions. No gale warning in effect today, which means our seafarers can head out safely. But remember, the conditions can change quickly out there. Looking ahead to the weekend, it's a great time to plan some activities for, well, fun, being out in the sun. Just be sure to check out the latest weather forecasts as we get closer and stay prepared for any unexpected rain. Now let's take a look at the weather conditions across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Starting off with Luzon, residents in Tuguegarao could expect cloudy skies and rain showers due to the northeasterly surface wind flow or the weak amihan. Now, for the rest of the region, overall, the weather will be generally fair for everyone. You might see some sunshine, but remember, keep an eye out for the sudden rain showers that could pop up out of nowhere. There's a good chance of rain in the afternoon, though, which could last for about 2 to 3 hours, so be prepared. The maximum temperature in Luzon will reach a high of 32 degrees Celsius, while Baguio will have a cooler low of 17 degrees Celsius. Actually, rain might fall in Baguio as well, around 17 degrees Celsius, the high being at 22 degrees. Now, the high of 22 degrees is lower than all of the lows all over Luzon at the meantime. So do enjoy the weather there in Baguio. If you're on the way there right now, you got a lot to look forward to. Moving on to Visayas. We can expect generally fair weather conditions as well. Bacolod, Iloilo, Metro Cebu, and Tacloban, low chance of rain with temperatures in the region climbing up to 33 degrees Celsius. Then move on over here so you can see everything. Hot weather on the horizon though. Remember to wear light clothing and stay hydrated by drinking a lot of water. As you can see here, the temperature quite the same all over the place. Bacolod having the high of 33 degrees though as well. Make sure you do keep hydrated as we mentioned a while ago, and stay safe even in this hot weather. Over to Mindanao, same weather conditions are expected in Metro Davao, Cagayan de Oro, and Zamboanga. Temperatures a bit higher there. So again, as we mentioned, stay inside during the hottest parts of the day. Usually this will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and make sure you stay hydrated. A look here at Zamboanga, a scalding 34 degrees Celsius in terms of the high in the temperature, while Cagayan de Oro and Metro Davao will have 32 degrees and 33 degrees as the high in those places respectively. Now, happy Friday everyone. Let's see if the weather will be suitable for your weekend plans. We think it might be, but here's the 3-day weather forecast coming from Pag-asa. Here in Metro Manila, because the next 3 days will have generally fair weather conditions. It's going to be a good weekend, at least that's what we expect. Temperatures are a bit high, 32 degrees Celsius. Best time to go to the mall for a stroll, exercise. You know, there's no excuse anymore to not go out there. As you can see here, 32 degrees Celsius all the way up until Monday. Good weather conditions expected there all throughout Metro Manila. So for those who are putting out that 5K run or that bike trip, no excuses now. Go out there, get those miles in. Now let's go on over to Cebu. Maayong buntag to our Cebuanos. It looks like you'll have a great weekend as well, with generally fair weather expected. It's a perfect time for outdoor activities. Consider the beach, nature, outdoor markets, so much to do. And please, according to our crew here, they are in need of some dried mangoes. Kaya magpadala naman kayo, please. We love the dried mangoes over there. Temperatures will raise from 25 degrees to 33 degrees Celsius. That is true all the way up until Monday. Same weather conditions there. Again, the high of 33 degrees Celsius expected all throughout, even though we did mention 32 degrees here. Now, let's take a look at Davao. Same weather conditions as well as Davao, as it wraps up practically good weather for majority of the country. Partly cloudy skies with low chances of rain. Fantastic opportunity to explore the city, especially those visiting there for the first time. Check out the Crocodile Park and, of course, learn about the wildlife and its conservation efforts, or head to the nearby beaches like Samal Island for some fun and relaxation. Now, wherever you go, always put on your sunscreen and water bottles with you. Bring them along, because temperatures may raise up to 33 degrees Celsius over in Davao. As you can see here, same weather conditions. 34 degrees actually is what we're predicting could be the high there, but then around 33 degrees the average. Now, speaking of being appreciative of wildlife, up next we'll have an Animal Kingdom Foundation president to talk about its advocacy on promoting animal rights. Stay tuned. You're watching Weather HQ. Welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. With about 11 million stray dogs and cats in the Philippines, effective animal welfare initiatives are vital. Changing weather patterns heighten the need to protect these vulnerable animals and ensure that they receive the proper care. Now, the Animal Kingdom Foundation, or AKF, is leading the efforts to promote compassion and advocate for animal rights. Joining us via Zoom is AKF President Attorney Heidi Marquez Cagiwa to share her insights. Attorney, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much, and good morning to you, Paolo, and thank you for having me today.
Attorney, let's talk first about the Animal Kingdom Foundation. For those not familiar with the organization and the work that you do, could you give us a brief background?
Animal Kingdom Foundation is a nonprofit organization. We aim to promote animal welfare in the Philippines. We are known for our staunch campaign for the dog against the dog meat trade, and we also help disaster in during disasters in terms of disaster responses. We also are around for the farm animal welfare, so we help and educate people, the students, the young generation to have responsibility and compassion for animals.
Well, Attorney, we are a weather show, so let's talk about how the weather is affecting your efforts and, of course, why you have to advocate for animals during the changing weather conditions. The first thing that comes to my mind, po, is whenever there's a typhoon, we always see calls to rescue animals that are not set free during these adverse weather conditions. Can you tell us a bit more about the work that you do with regards to the changing weather and animal welfare?
We always remind the public that, because there's always like weather forecasts, just like what you do, we always remind them to be ready, to be prepared in terms in times of emergencies, inclement weather, to make sure that they will not leave their pets behind, and to make sure that they be released in terms of real emergency, and there's so that they will be able to also help themselves and to free themselves, because most animals die because they're caged, they're tethered, and they cannot help themselves during floods. Hence, we always remind them, please do not leave your pets behind. We always have to make sure that they will be freed in case that you have to also evacuate.
Attorney, we've also experienced periods of extreme heat, prolonged heat, especially in the metro areas. Is that something also that we probably are not paying as much attention to, because a lot of the attention is, of course, the response with regards to rising floodwaters and caged animals?
Yes, it's also important during summertime, during the high temperature season or times in the Philippines, that we also make sure and we show them how to leave water in special areas in the street, so that the stray animals, most especially, would have water to drink, that they be hydrated. So we would have model canisters or even just simple bowls, and encourage people to also leave clean water for the street animals to be hydrated during summer or extreme weather condition.
Attorney, one of the great successes of the AKF has actually been its campaign against the dog meat trade. Of course, it's still an ongoing fight. I'm sure a lot of people might say, oh, that's part of the culture, the actual use of dog meat. But then, can you tell us a bit about yung mga gains ninyo in regards to fighting yung dog meat trade?
We really have a very successful campaign to reduce the dog meat trade in the Philippines. And right now, we're also, other than, of course, reducing the trade and reducing the dogs that has been a victim of the dog meat trade, we are also educating the people and putting out messages out in the barangay, especially in areas where there is dog meat trade presence. And right now, we are also working with the IPs, some IPs that uses animals
Mm-hmm.
for sacrifices, and especially in the Cordilleras, where they use dogs for sacrifice or for rituals.
Yeah.
So we're working with them. We're trying to tell them that, that commercialism is not part of tradition, and there are also guidelines that they have to follow. We respect tradition, we respect culture, but this time we really have to look into also the animal welfare, the laws,
Yeah.
and whether or not these practices are still relevant or important. So we're working on that with them, and we just very happy that there are issuances already issued by the Bureau of Animal Industry, the DILG, to help us foster and communicate animal welfare in the communities.
Yeah, you mentioned the laws a while ago po. Can you tell us a bit more about yung partnership ninyo with the government agencies, the relevant government agencies, and of course, how important is yung partnership na yun to ensuring that your fight against animal cruelty is continues to be effective?
It's important that this partnership, of course, is would come into a win-win solution. So we partner with the Bureau of Animal Industry, the DILG, the local government units, to not just promote animal welfare, to not just educate the public about animal welfare, but to also provide services like free spay neuter, vaccination, providing educational materials, responding to emergencies in their locality. So our presence in the locality, our support with the local government units, their also releases of ordinances, the release of laws.
Yeah.
For example, also with the Bureau of Animal Industry and the dog meat trade, there was an issuance way back in 2016, the National Plan of Action to eliminate the dog meat trade.
Yeah.
So that's been happening. So that has also been an effective partnership. It's a multi-sectoral, multi-agency partnership, because animal welfare for us is not just our responsibility. It's a village. It takes a village to promote animal welfare, to protect the animals. And hence the government agencies has their role, and we are just very happy that they're very supportive as well.
Attorney, we're running out of time, and of course, I have a lot more questions. I wanted to ask more about the fish trade, and of course, animal welfare for that, and of course, the for those egg-bearing fowl as well. But of course, for those who want to help out and who want to know more about AKF and the upcoming initiatives that you'll have to continue to advocate for animal welfare, how can people reach out to you? How can they contribute to this effort?
We We appeal to the public for people to help and support Animal Kingdom Foundation in its work to improve animal welfare in the country. They can help by checking on our website, AKF Animal Rescue, in our Facebook and Instagram pages. They can help by sharing our messages. They can also help by donating in kind or in cash, and also help by fostering adopting animals from our rescue center. There's a lot of ways to help, but the very first thing that you can help, the public can help, is to please be responsible pet owners, to be compassionate and loving to them.
Well, that is AKF President Attorney Heidi Marquez Cagiwa sharing her insights. Thank you so much for your time and continue the good fight. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Paolo.
All right, when we return, global weather after the break. Keep it here. You're watching the Billionaire News Channel. Welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. The National Hurricane Center says Hurricane Milton has made landfall as a dangerous Category 3 storm near Cignal Ch. Milton had sustained winds of up to 193 kilometers per hour at landfall, but its strength diminished to Category 1 as it moved inland across the state. Security camera footage at a beach resort in Fort Myers showed extreme wind, floods, and intense rain lashing a state that was already battered by the deadly Hurricane Helene last month. At least 19 tornadoes confirmed, destroying homes in multiple counties. Multiple tornado deaths reported in the eastern coast of Florida. Flash flood emergency in effect for Tampa Bay area. 5 people were killed in tornadoes in the Spanish Lakes Country Club near Fort Pierce on Florida's Atlantic coast, where homes were destroyed. Over in St. Petersburg, Florida, a large construction crane collapsed onto an empty street. Intense winds from Milton left the roof of the landmark Stadium Tropicana field in tatters. Pieces of non-retractable roof were seen flapping in the wind. The stadium was being used as a shelter for first responders in the build-up to the response to the storm. According to WFTS-TV in Tampa, there were no reported injuries at the site. Emergency crews from the Orange County Fire Rescue Department and the Orange County Sheriff's Office walked through flooded roads to check homes and assist residents impacted by the storm. As of now, authorities said that 12 are confirmed dead. Milton has now moved out of Florida's landmass, but its remnants are still bringing heavy rains, particularly to the eastern and central parts of the state. As you can see here, tropical storm Milton already moving away from the Florida landmass right over here with tropical storm Milton moving away. Now, for those in the areas affected, especially our Filipino community, our mga kababayan over there, it's important to stay updated on weather conditions and follow the guidance of local authorities. Let's move on over to Europe. The remnants of Hurricane Kirk brought significant rainfall to Western Europe, particularly affecting France. French authorities warned the public of a high risk of flooding in more than 30 areas. French channel BFM TV showed images of a donkey being pulled through the waters that have flooded streets and playgrounds. In the southern Belgian town of Cavan, a military helicopter evacuated several residents from a flooded campsite on Thursday. Local media reported that around 25 people were relocated to the town sports hall after a local river burst its banks and flooded the city center and some campsites. The remnants of post-tropical cyclone Kirk will continue to affect parts of France, which can lead to various impacts, including localized flooding, disruptions in travel, and potentially hazardous conditions. A state weather forecaster from Météo France warned of gusts hitting 120 to 150 kilometers per hour in Pyrenees Mountains and up to 90 millimeters of rain falling in the southern Picardy and Greater Paris regions, where the saturated ground meant there was a risk of flooding. Now, if you're in the affected area, it's important to stay updated on local weather alerts and take precautions. And that's Weather HQ for today. Join me again next week, whatever weather, here on BNC, the Billionaire News Channel. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Have a happy weekend.